So let's talk about the year 2026. I know, it sounds like it's a ways off, but it's really not. It's right around the corner, and it's shaping up to be a real flashpoint. A moment where all this accelerating technology, these huge shifts in our workforce, and this tangled web of new rules, they all just collide. For anyone in a leadership role, the question isn't if this is going to impact you, it's how you're going to navigate it when it does.
And this quote, well, it absolutely nails the central challenge of 2026. Look, we are all in this massive race to innovate, to automate, to use AI to make everything better, faster, stronger. But as Horton International points out here, none of that shiny new tech matters one bit without the people who actually make it all work. And it's that tension, that fundamental push and pull that we're going to dig into.
And this tension creates a pretty big paradox, doesn't it? On one side, you have the promise of AI, instant answers, perfect data, everything running smoothly. It's an incredible vision. But then you look at the other side, at the reality for so many people at work, and what do you see? Burnout, a desperate search for talent, and a very real anxiety about what AI means for their jobs. So how on earth do you bring those two worlds together? Well, that's exactly what we're here to unpack.
So here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll look at three massive forces that are all building momentum right now. You've got the incredible speed of AI, the super complex human side of our modern workforce, and this tangled new rulebook of global regulations. Then we're going to see what happens when they all crash into each other. And finally, we'll explore a new playbook for how to lead through the chaos.
All right, let's jump in with the first and maybe the most obvious, force. The just unbelievable speed and scale of AI. And I want to be clear, this isn't just another tech trend. This is a fundamental, ground-up shift in how business is going to operate from now on. According to Gartner, this is basically the new foundation that companies are building on. We're talking about AI-native platforms that let even a small team build incredibly powerful tools, almost like they're snapping together Lego bricks. Then you've got AI supercomputing that's unlocking brand new breakthroughs. And of course, there's physical AI, the robots in the warehouse, the smart drones, all of it. Powering all this, domain-specific language models. AIs that are basically specialists, trained on the unique language of fields like medicine or finance, which makes them way more accurate and useful.
And if you're wondering why all this is happening so fast, well, it's pretty simple. The money. The business case is just undeniable. Boston Consulting Group found that when companies really get the hang of AI, they can see their ROI jump by 20 to 30%. I mean, with that much value up for grabs, the push to go faster and faster is immense. This isn't just a wave, it's a full-on technological tidal wave.
But here's the thing. Technology never ever exists in a vacuum. And that brings us right to our second force, the human equation. Because while AI is hitting the accelerator, our human workforce is dealing with its own set of massive disruptions. Just look at this. It's like a demographic pincer movement. On one side, you have more than 4 million baby boomers retiring from the U.S. workforce every single year, taking all of that experience and knowledge with them. And on the other side, falling birth rates in many developed countries mean there just aren't enough younger workers coming up to fill those empty spots. This isn't a temporary blip, it's a huge structural talent crisis.
So you've got this immense pressure from demographics, and you're piling on the crazy pace of technological change. It's creating this incredible strain on the people who are still in the workforce. So what's the actual human cost of this new reality we're all trying to live in?
Well, the data's pretty sobering. A Spring Health report found that 57% of employees are negatively impacted by work-related stress. Half, a full 50%, are quiet quitting, just doing the bare minimum to get by. Some folks are even calling it quiet burnout, where people look engaged on the outside but are totally running on empty inside. And for neurodivergent employees, over half feel unsupported in workplaces that just weren't designed for them. This isn't just a morale problem, you guys. This is a crisis of human capacity.
Okay, so we've got accelerating tech on one side and a strained workforce on the other. Now let's throw the third force into the mix, the new rulebook. Or maybe more accurately, the fact that there isn't a single rulebook. What we have is an explosion of different, fragmented, and often conflicting regulations all over the world. Just take data privacy, for instance. This map from Freshfields shows the legal minefield perfectly. A single data breach today can set off a chain reaction of massive lawsuits in multiple countries, all at the same time. What's perfectly legal in one place could create a gigantic liability somewhere else.
And it's not just about data breaches. Look at this map. It shows all the different rules for protecting young people's data online. There is no global standard. The UK has one law, the EU has another, and then you have all these different state laws in the US. They all take a slightly different approach. For any company that operates globally, it is a compliance nightmare.
And the speed of this is just staggering. Since 2016, the number of laws dealing with data, cybersecurity, and AI in the world's major economies has shot up by 400%. That is a mind-boggling level of regulatory complexity that businesses are just scrambling to keep up with.
Okay, so you have these three massive forces: fast tech, strained people, and confusing rules, all hurtling forward on a collision course. What happens when they finally slam into each other? Well, that's what we're calling the Great Collision of 2026.
Let's look at the first collision: AI meets people. As Force 1 crashes into Force 2, you see AI fundamentally reshaping the very nature of our jobs, right? It's automating tasks and rewriting job descriptions practically overnight.
And that, of course, has a very real, very human consequence. A recent poll found that almost half of all adults in the US are now worried about their job security specifically because of AI. And this isn't just a passing worry. As Kelsey Whitmer from Spring Health predicts, this AI anxiety is on track to become one of the single biggest drivers of workplace stress by 2026. It's just one more heavy layer of pressure on a workforce that's already feeling the strain.
Now for the second collision: technology meets regulation. Here's the irony. The very thing that makes AI so powerful, its ravenous appetite for data, is also its biggest weakness, because using all that data has become a global legal minefield.
This map just drives that risk home. AI systems have to be trained on data, and a lot of that is personal data. But as we see here, every single byte of that data is tangled up in this complex web of international laws. One little misstep in one country can trigger a massive cascade of lawsuits and fines all across the globe.
So, there you have it. That's the collision. Anxious people, incredibly powerful technology, and a whole lot of confusing rules. It sounds pretty daunting. But this is exactly where leadership makes all the difference. We need a new playbook, one that puts people right back at the center of our technology strategy.
And Horton International offers a really fantastic framework for this. It starts with number 1, creating reflective space. That just means intentionally hitting the pause button in the middle of all the chaos to actually think clearly. Then number 2 is self-exploring, which is all about understanding your own triggers as a leader before you react. Third is elevating your perspective, seeing the whole forest, not just the one tree that's on fire in front of you. Fourth is calibrating your internal compass, making tough calls based on your core values, not just on cold, hard data. And finally, number 5, building webs of relationships that are based on real trust and psychological safety. This isn't about choosing tech or people, it's about finding a way to lead with both. And that really leaves us with one final critical question to think about. We all know that technology is evolving at light speed, but is our leadership evolving with it? Because when 2026 gets here, the companies that win won't be the ones with the flashiest AI. They'll be the ones with the wisest leaders. Leaders who get that technology is just a tool, and that real, lasting success will always, always be fundamentally human.